So, gonna tell a story tonight about how I lost 85 pounds in 6 months. So, what made me think of this is I was having dinner this evening. Oh, by the way, this is Dacha How Wosha Michael Larson, Wosha Nieman Depungyu. Hello, everybody. This is Mike Larson from BBC IML, and this is A Moment with Mike. But I was having dinner outside over on the picnic table right over there, out in front of Lake Superior here. And we had tacos tonight, and the tacos I have, we make them a certain way for a certain reason. First of all, the taco shells themselves are leaves of lettuce. So you just take the iceberg lettuce and you break a leaf off, and that's what makes your shell. And then the meat is turkey, so it doesn't have uric acid in it like beef does, and I'll get to the importance of that in a little bit. And then, of course, tomatoes. Now, I do have cheese. I don't normally have dairy, but put a little bit of cheese in it also. So, but the story behind eating like that is an interesting story, because, well, at least it's interesting to me. Hopefully you'll find it interesting also. But about 7 years ago, my father, who a great man, he's one of my mentors easily, but his health was starting to get the best of him, and he moved to northern Wisconsin, he and my mother, and I know he wanted to be in northern Wisconsin to be able to fish and hunt and do all the things that he loved to do, and I think it was cut short for him. And what I noticed is I was with Miracle Ear at the time, and I was considering leaving Miracle Ear and either starting my own hearing aid business, or I had an offer from another hearing aid company. And I asked my father to go to coffee with me. So we went to a place here in town called the Black Cat, and we had coffee. And I wanted to know, he's a brilliant guy with business and very intelligent. My father was, whenever I was looking for advice, that's where I went. And I knew he had a great business mind. So I wanted to know what his take on it was. So we went to the Black Cat and we started talking about it. And I asked him, I gave him the history of everything, and I asked him what his take on it would be. And he couldn't give it to me. I mean, the smartest guy I ever knew, and he couldn't give me a recommendation, or he couldn't help me find a plan, and he was struggling with it. And that bothered me. This guy was smart, and he had never been able to not give me an opinion before about anything that I ever asked him on, advice or anything else, and it really concerned me. And that should have been my first clue of what was going on really behind the scenes. But it's also what made me start to think about health, and to think that he had created all this through his life, and now when it was his time to enjoy it, he didn't seem to have the drive which he always had to do hunting and fishing and all those different things. So that worried me. And then it wasn't, to move that forward, it wasn't long after that he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And that was really what set things off for me, was before we actually found out about the cancer, I went to a seminar looking for an answer on how to be healthier, because I was having my own issues with health. And I was having stomach issues, which would cause severe headaches, and they're linked. And I didn't know that at the time, but when I got into the hearing business, I learned a lot about the anatomy of the upper body, and I learned that there's a 10th cranial nerve that goes from your stomach right up to your head, and when you have stomach issues, you can get migraine headaches from it. So it was my indication that something was wrong. Well, I didn't want things to go like that for me. When I create my empire, and I get to the point where I want to enjoy my life and have retirement, I don't want my health standing in the way of that. So I was looking for answers, and I went to a great show by Tony Robbins, Unleash Your Power. And I learned a lot from that. It was a life-changing experience for me. But one of the things he talked about was health. And that's what I want to share with you tonight, is how I lost 85 pounds in 6 months and changed my whole life. It did. Incredible, the change in my life. And there was a lot of things that changed in my life from that seminar, but that's the one I want to talk about tonight. And the reason I was eating tacos with leaf lettuce. So what I learned from that, first of all, I drank a gallon of milk a day. I loved my dairy. I was a beef and potatoes guy. I had beef in every meal and potatoes whenever I could. And I exercised hard. I worked out hard. I had my whole life. But I was working out hard and my health wasn't getting any better. I was strong, extremely strong. I could bench press more than 400 pounds, but I was gaining weight. I was exercising, I was walking, but I still was gaining weight and I couldn't figure it out. In fact, I had even given up French fries and a number of other things, but I was still gaining weight. So I went to this seminar and I learned that, first of all, the thing I had to get rid of was dairy, because dairy has AA proteins in it from a cow, and our body doesn't take to those proteins very well. And because of that, AA proteins are what our immune system uses as energy to fight. But that particular type of AA proteins, the body doesn't take well, and it throws your immune system out, and that's how we get immune deficiencies. But also, because of that, your body tries to protect it, and it creates a mucus within your body, and you gain weight because of it. So the first thing I did was got rid of dairy products. The next thing you find out is that our bodies are mostly moisture. 70% of our body is moisture. In fact, in our brain, it's almost 80% is moisture. So water. And so if we are 70 or 80% water, it should make sense that we should eat a lot of water-based foods. So you should have 70 to 80% fruit and vegetables in your diet. And then you also learn that acid is the biggest contributor to weight gain, because acid is hard on the cells of your body. So your body is naturally going to try and protect itself. So what your body does is retain fluid and retains fat to protect your cells from the acid that you're putting into your body. And the reason you get acid in your body is because your body cannot digest properly meat or proteins and carbs at the same time. You can digest proteins and vegetables at the same time, and you can digest carbohydrates and vegetables at the same time, but you can't digest proteins and carbohydrates at the same time. So what they suggested, they said, don't take our word for it, just try it yourself. Eat nothing but vegetables and fruits and vegetables for 10 days and see what it does for you. So I did. I went ahead and did that. And I ate nothing but fruits and vegetables. I mean, I was a meat and potato person. I really loved my meat and potatoes and my pizza and everything else. And at any rate, so I did that. I took his challenge and I ate nothing but fruits and vegetables for 10 days. The first few days you do it, your body is like, oh my gosh, you're starving me. You're not getting starved, but your body wants to believe that because it loves that stuff. So it tells you it's starving. Well, once you get through that, you overcome it. And in that first 10 days, I lost an incredible 25 pounds just in those first 10 days. And the change was incredible. I felt incredible energy and everything. So I continued on with this, but I went back to eating proteins, but I ate only proteins or carbs in a meal. So I'd have fish, and it's important to use proper proteins. Like beef has uric acid again, so your body will try and protect itself from the acid. Pork, uric acid again. Chicken that isn't raised on a range or not in a cage is okay, but when it's in a cage, once again, you get things like uric acid involved. So you can actually eat beef, but it has to be grass-fed and just occasionally. But the other thing you need to do is you need to have a cheat day, because you don't want your body to crave it so much that you crash. And one day a week, as long as you're eating the rest of the days good, one day a week isn't going to hurt you. So, and then fruits. You can't eat fruits with anything. You have to eat fruits 15 minutes before or half an hour after you eat, because fruits will ferment if it takes too long to digest in your body. So when things take longer than 4 hours to digest in your body's taking things out of them it doesn't need, and most of it is acids. And then you have to be careful with veggies, because you don't want to cook them or overcook them, because then they turn to carbs also, and then you can't eat the proteins and the veggies together, and most of the nutrients is gone out of them, and you lose the antioxidants and all of that stuff. Remarkably, dark chocolate is really good for you, as long as it's 70% or more dark chocolate, because there's a ton of antioxidants in there. Of course, it's you're not going to eat 5 candy bars because it's really good for you. You do it in moderation, but it's really good for you. And there's other things too you wouldn't think are good for you that are. But there was lots of things with that I learned also. Proper exercise, teaching your body to burn fat instead of sugars, because when you burn sugars, it once again creates acid. The leftover from burning that sugar creates acid, plus you get a crash. As soon as that sugar is gone, your body crashes, because that's all it knows at that point to burn. Proteins are better, but even proteins, there's only a certain amount of proteins your body can give up in order for you to burn. It's really fats that make the best energy for you, because it's long term. And once you teach your body how to burn fat, your body, you can eat fat. Well, I mean, there's difference between healthy fat and non-healthy fat, high cholesterol, lower cholesterol fat. But you can actually eat fat, because that's what your body needs for fuel once you've taught it how to burn fat properly. And then you don't get the acids, and your body doesn't have to retain fluid or fat to protect the cells from the acids. So eating tonight is, and the weight gain was remarkable. I actually lost 85 pounds in 6 months. And I remember one day I went into a bowling alley. We were bowling for Miracle Year. We would have our monthly meetings, and we went out for bowling. And I picked up 3 16-pound balls, which was only 48 pounds. But I remember carrying them around, and at one time, I had twice that weight. And it was just remarkable to think of that. No wonder why I had no energy. Because for every pound of fat you have on your body, I heard that you have 3,000 miles of blood vessels. So imagine that. Every pound of fat you put on your body, you're adding 3,000 miles of blood vessels. And your heart has to work that much harder to pump the blood through there. So losing all that weight is really good. And then when you replace it with muscle, your muscle, for every pound of muscle you have, it'll burn 120 calories per day. So when you replace fat with muscle is actually heavier, but you burn calories, and you turn your engine into a calorie burner. And when you are burning fat for energy, and you've got muscle that you created through that energy that burns calories, you become somebody that can keep a weight off really well, because yo-yo diets, they call it, where people go up and down constantly, because their body is still burning sugars, and they have to replace that energy all the time. So there's so many changes that it creates that are remarkable. Now, the one thing I learned with all of this is that I lift weights. I do some bodybuilding. More or less just because it keeps me healthy. It's one of the things that keeps me healthy. But I was losing muscle and lifting weights, and my weight, the amount I could lift kept going down and down. So what I had to do is I learned that when you lift weights and you're on this diet, your body thinks you're trying to shrink. So it stops giving you muscle building hormones. And so what you have to do is you have to reteach your body that it isn't, you're not trying to lose weight, you're just trying to be healthy. So you give yourself, when that happens, you give yourself 2 cheat days. And then your body doesn't go into the mode of trying to shrink. And my muscle came back and my strength came back and everything was fine then. But really, it's easy for me to hold my weight off. In fact, I've actually tried to put a little bit back on again. I was all the way down to 180 pounds from 265. And now I'm back up to about 200, which is a comfortable weight for me. But that's what I would say is what you have to do first. If you want to try this, what you do first is you have to cut out dairy. Now you can have it on cheat day, but cut out dairy. That was the hardest thing for me. I'll have pizza on my cheat day, but cut out dairy first of all. And then try it. Just eat nothing but fruits and vegetables, and they should be raw. Don't cook them. Maybe you could steam them, flash steam them if you want, but you take all the goodness out of those things when you cook them. But eat nothing but vegetables and fruit for 10 days and just see what happens. It's not going to kill you, but see what happens. And here's what else happened with me. I don't like the beef that much anymore. It leaves a film in my mouth and I really don't enjoy it that much. The foods that I used to love, I don't really enjoy that much. And what happens is your taste buds come alive again and you don't like the vegetables when they're overcooked anymore because the flavor is there when they're raw. And you'll actually enjoy them. I didn't like broccoli. I didn't like spinach. There was a lot of things I didn't like when I was younger. And now I enjoy them because I like the flavor of them now, which is crazy. But when they're crisp and they're raw, the flavor is good. It's something you have to get used to, but the flavor is good. And the fruits I didn't like anymore, I can eat. I mean, I was a finicky eater. And now I can eat just about anything. So that would be the challenge I would tell you guys. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me, Mike at inspiredmotivatedleadership.com, or you can text me on Messenger. If you have a subject you'd like me to go over, that would be fantastic. I love doing that. I've had a few people that have given me some subjects to go over, and I've enjoyed that. And when you're on here, give me a like, give me a comment. I would enjoy that. You can help me out that way. But I can see that I got a few people on here tonight. Chad's on here, Wendy's on here, Lynn, Jason. I thank you for being on this evening. I think there were some more people on there earlier. I'm sorry if I missed you. But once again, have a super fantastic evening. I hope you find this well. Hopefully all the moisture will get out of the air now soon. It'll get drier tonight. But I will talk to you soon. And I hope this finds you well once again. And this has been A Moment with Mike.